Welcome to another episode of Autogefühl with Thomas, with the Peugeot 308 in this newest iteration. This new model year will feature some new things, and we'll take a closer look at that on exterior, interior and the driving experience. So a complete overview of the 308, this compact vehicle by Peugeot, a very important model for them. And of course, all the changes that come now with this update. We're also here close to Reims. That's where the champagne is coming from. It's growing actually right behind us, literally. And also a beautiful moulin, a windmill here, because it's really windy up here. But a beautiful hot day and a beautiful surrounding we have here for you today. So I would say, bienvenue, welcome to this episode. Let's go in full HD, full screen and full length. On y va. So that means let's go. The most important change for this model year, a new color. There it is, Thomas Blue. Yeah, you know, I called the headquarters and said, can you put like a striking Thomas Blue color? And they said, yeah, of course, let's do that. Well, they call it Vertigo Blue, but definitely a very beautiful one. In general, the Peugeot 308 has a wide front grille for a compact vehicle, and then this design step here inside the headlamps. By the way, it starts with halogen from the base trim levels and then optional with LED lamps. We also see them right here because this is a GT car, so it's the sporty trim. They also reorganized all trim levels. It's now Active, Allure and GT. And then when you want some more equipment, it's called Pack each. So this here indeed a GT Pack. So this is a sporty version done with, let's say, most extensive equipment. The GT features these horizontal dots and also the red Peugeot lettering there and also a stronger lower bumper. Overall, I think the Vertigo Blue in the GT, that's how you can put the 308 in the most beautiful way. 4.25 meters, 14 foot or 167 inches is the length of the 308. In this hatch version, there's also the SW available. This is the estate version and it has even a longer wheelbase, so 11 centimeters or 4 inches longer in the wheelbase and of course a longer overhang. So one of the rare cases where the same compact model as an estate has a longer wheelbase, and all the changes we're going to talk about today count for both models. The GT, by the way, and also the top engine, the GTI, they both sit about a centimeter lower as for suspension, and the wheels come from 16 to maximum 19 inch in the GTI. Here the GT, so when you go with the normal 308, maximum was 18 inch. We also see it right here, so a strong appearance also as for the wheels. And once more you can see the beautiful color right there. It's, by the way, a 3-coat color, so 3 different layers. Design lines here above the door handle. You can see the play of light and shadow right there. Other than that, we have this, one of the striking design elements. It's actually quite wide here from the windows. Nowadays, most cars close it right here as for the window line. What do you think about design here? And also catching the tail lamps already right here at the side. And in the rear, a typical hatch shape. However, the SW, the estate version, doesn't look too different from the rear. What is quite cool is that we have the LEDs here, the signature with the Peugeot claws, from the Lion's claws, and the GT has the contrasting lower bumper in shiny black right there, and it also looks quite cool here with these exhaust tips, because when you take a closer look, it's a case for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police, because they're indeed just cosmetic, the real exhaust then underneath. The engine lineup has been consolidated a little bit. This is here the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, either with 110 or today here 130 horsepower. The latter one also available with automatic gearbox. Then in the GTI, the top horsepower spec, there's a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder with 263 horsepower, then 6 seconds acceleration figure. And on diesel side, 1.5 liter diesel 4-cylinder, 100 or also 130 horsepower, then again optional with automatic gearbox. This is the car key, we know it from before and actually makes a good quality impression. Keyless entry here when putting your hand on the outside, or then again when putting on the inside to open it, door closing sound. Actually quite solid. Then inside of the doors is somewhat soft touch here on the top part. Softer here at the inside where the armrests are and so on, quite dusty here today. Then door pockets are quite slim as for this, but you know, actually then they on the inside deliver quite good space. Then this here again the GT. That means GT steering wheel here, flat bottom, also with the GT stamp then, and it's also, you know, you can really feel that. There's a new button here on the steering wheel here then to change the new digital instruments. Soon a detailed look at these here. So new 10-inch digital instruments. These are not the 3D instruments from the 2008 or the 208 in new generation, but they are, you know, plain and digital. Before it was analog left and right and small digits in the inside. Red contrast digits here in the GT and also soft touch material at the dashboard. Then the GT also comes with these sport seats. Usually you get normal fabric seats for the 308. With the Allure version you get a mix of fabric and leatherette. That's also pretty cool and it stays even a little bit cooler in summer. But this is also nice and looks more premium here with the Alcantara on the inside and leatherette on the outside. So animal-free seat. Very good choices they do offer. So either go for the Allure or for the GT, depending on your liking, if you like Alcantara or fabric more. In general, of course, a big advantage, if you compare it to animal skin, that this one here, microfiber and fabric, stays cooler in summer and warm in winter. And the car is not too big and it doesn't look too suitable for taller people, but actually these sport seats here, they are a little bit larger and they do offer quite a decent comfort indeed, surprisingly. And when I put it all the way down with one a 6 or 6'1", there's still enough headroom left for me, and you can pump it up your manually here with the seats, and also manual back control. The very small steering wheel makes this interior really unique. You have a manual control for that, in and out, up and down, and so on. And the thing is always, what about the knees, and what about the look to the front, to the instruments? That's always something, it depends on. So I cannot put the steering wheel too low, so, but you know, has the flat bottom like this, and then I can still see the speed. So indeed it directly works. So yeah, that way it does work, although it comes close. You also have shifting pedals here for this automatic gearbox, by the way, that you can shift down or up yourself. Interior overview. I like how, you know, this top of the new digital instruments here goes with the design line to the next dashboard, all soft touch, so it looks very clean, almost a little bit futuristic as all the new Peugeot interiors. Contrast stitches right there. And by the way, on the steering wheel on the right side you can, for example, switch the radio stations here, but the scrolling sounds a little bit weird. Yeah, interesting, right? And on the left side then for the volume right there. So, and then soon more details to the screen, 9.7 inch, or let's also just say 10 inch. The change here is that it has a glossy surface now, so it looks a little bit more high class. But remember, again, like all the touchscreens, to clean it very often with the microfiber towel. Soon details to the functions here. Then the lower area also looks pretty clean. Hazard lights right there, still a real button, and you still have a CD changer here. Some music fans will really appreciate that, and what I appreciate is that we still have a manual volume knob right there. I just like to have that one. No manual AC unit, however. Then in the lower part, 12-volt power supply and a USB-A supply, and the seat heating is here in 3 levels. A little bit complicated in the lower part, and that's also where you would put your smartphone in. And you see here, when this car was originally built, the smartphones were a little bit smaller. Now they're a little bit bigger meanwhile, and this, when it's not put all the way there, then it could interfere theoretically a little bit here with the shifting knee, but like this it works. When it would be like this, see it here, so always push it all the way through like this. And this is the automatic shifting lever, then here for the automatic gearbox, so this is an option. And then start stop engine button, as well as the drive selector, talking about the drive modes when we drive the car. And then there there's actually one cup holder with the cover right there, but you can also put it away, and then you have a larger cubby hole, and then one more just behind this leatherette cover here from the armrest, really well attached, and then there's some more space underneath. So now more details to the screen. You can see here the Apple Carplay integration, and it also works for that. And comes standard with this system. That's also good. Let's listen to the Denon sound system here. That's actually quite cool for this compact vehicle. Nice. Cool. Liked it. And Connection Through Sound, by the way, awesome song. You should listen to it full length. So here we go. And the question is always how to go back. Well, you see there are these hotkeys here on the left side, for example, also for the GPS. The GPS software could use some tweaking. It could be more responsive, and sometimes I did not really find the correct way, have to say that. So not the happiest one with that. I would rather use the Apple CarPlay navigation or Android Auto navigation than here. For the climate unit, you have to go here actually, then control it, so no manual climate knob available. Right side for vehicle settings. Here you can access the Apple CarPlay once again. This is then also a hotkey for the CarPlay, or when you connect your phone just via Bluetooth would be possible. And once more here again for the music, depending on what you have running at the moment. And there's one trick here with 3 fingers. You always get to this hidden main menu, so to say. Not sure why they did it in that way. And then you can access these keys here right there in the middle of the screen once again. Now more details to these digital instruments. So you can also have a G-force meter in there. For the brightness, they're actually quite well to read. And then you have different dials. They have also different animations and so on. So this one would probably be my favorite. It also looks quite sporty, so why not? You will also have the navigation map in there if you like, while driving, when you put a GPS input and so on. So overall, I think a nice addition. Now as for the back door, well, here on the inside, also in the back, they use the same materials in the front, so also a little bit soft touch at the rear here. Take this, Golf. So, and then soft touch also here, of course, at the armrest once again. And in the GT, we also have the nice Alcantara setup here for the inside of the rear seats, with the red contrast stitches. By the way, there is also with this new update a so-called road trip version available that will feature seats then with orange contrast stitching and some other design elements. You can see them here in the pictures. Also a nice addition available in certain markets. Now to the rear area. Let's get inside. And one of the things is that this car is very short. Considering this rather short length, we shouldn't expect too much. When I'm driving, I cannot that well properly sit in here, so I do hit the seat here with my knees. It's a soft area, so it's not too bad, but clearly not laid out to transport 4 tall adults. This will be different in the SW, the estate version. There I could actually probably sit also as an adult, but here more to be a versatile smaller vehicle for the cities. Of course 208 even smaller than, but you could see this result. besides that, it's actually reasonably comfortable if you would be a little bit smaller. And headroom actually is no problem. I do easily fit in here. Then ISOFIX at the outside seats each. And in the middle part we have the cup holders, but they're very shallow. Not sure if that will work that well. And there's a ski hatch available, a small one to reach through the back. And for the middle seat, well, this would be then the trickiest stuff for today. Yeah, I mean, for shorter trips it will work, but again, legroom is the problem here. And in the back, there's one more USB supply. 420 to 1,230 liters is the boot capacity. About 200 liters more with the SW, by the way. But here in the hatch, you can see it's actually quite good square dimensions. The loading sill is quite high, as we used to, as from the hatch. But then, because of this sill, then again, you have enough space in height. You can also see the trolley also fits in a vertical way, no problem. And I also flipped one of the seats already, and then you also have this another step there because there's no additional floor cover, but then again you use all of the height. And I can also flip the other way around here, the other seat, fold it down like this, and then you can see this one would be the maximum setup. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Peugeot 308 here in the recent iteration. We put to sports mode. Oh, we already hear the RPMs being pre-tuned. And we have a straight road here. Let's just show you the performance of this small petrol engine first. I'll just say sports mode and let's go. That's 80. Actually quite reasonable, and the sound wasn't too bad. I always have to say, like, this 3-cylinder sound is sometimes better than the 4-cylinder sound. Here in the sports mode, then more spontaneous throttle input, and also the steering is a little bit, it gives a little bit more resistance. And it has this unique setup here from the cockpit with the small steering wheel, and therefore it's a lot of fun to ease it around the corners, go left and right like this. It's really cool. Suspension here in the GT, a little bit lower as well as in the GTI, but it doesn't make too much of a difference. It's still leaning a little bit inside the corner because I didn't want to make it too stiff. When there's some fierce bump in the roads, you have a disadvantage in comparison to some competitor vehicles where you can optionally go for an adaptive suspension, which does a better job then. Yeah, but still I think they found a good compromise here. The steering could be a little bit more progressive, I would say. So especially in the first area here, not too much is happening, and then a little bit more to the sides where it reacts. So it could be a little bit more responsive in this area, I think. But overall, I think a unique setup. It's a very short vehicle for a compact vehicle, so a driving feeling gives you like something in between a small and a compact vehicle because of its length. It will be different than, however, with the SW, which is then the estate version. So because it has a longer wheelbase, pretty unique then once again on the market. Because it is so small, we also feel at home here in smaller French cities. So where sometimes with bigger cars you might get a little bit stressed or something because it gets narrow. Here it's actually no problem to ease the car around. When it's going uphill, downhill, sometimes in a sports mode, it's also a little bit better because you're already at some RPMs and then you can get going a little bit easier. And once again, because it is so small, it's really just so much fun to drive. These sport seats here with the Alcantara are also very recommendable because you keep you a little bit tighter in the corners, and also for tall people at the same time they increase the comfort. So it really go for these seats here. Actually, the car we see here at the moment with the vertical blue on the exterior, the Alcantara seats on the interior, and this turbo petrol engine with the automatic gearbox, that's actually how I would spec a 308. So very interesting as well that. The automatic gearbox puts up the price a little bit, yes. However, it's just more relaxing to drive, especially when you have also traffic situations and so on. So I think I would also stick with that. Yeah, some interesting construction going on here, but even more beautiful, you have the vineyards and the corners that are coming up ahead. We can drive a little bit faster, see how this car performs, and once again, such an interesting feeling with the small steering wheel. The new gauges here in the front, digital gauges, they're very clear to read. Also here with the sunlight, it's bright enough, no problem as for that. And since you see the digital speed in a very big way, it's also good to read that. You know, there's always something with the setup of the steering wheel together with the gauges that you can still see it. However, they put it in a way high that you don't need a head-up display, so it's still somewhat in your line of sight, you know. That's the logic behind it, and you know, in that way you can actually also understand that. When we go back to the normal mode, the throttle is a little bit reduced again, the throttle input, and also the steering is lighter, also in this so-called eco mode, especially less throttle input. There was also 308, so you can drive a little bit more, you know, fuel saving, so to say. About the fuel economy, realistic figure would be about like 6.57 liters per 100 kilometers, which is for a compact segment vehicle quite usual. It's a small engine, of course you would wish a lower consumption, so it could indeed be lower. Yeah, but that's also not too different with other vehicles. Maybe these new mild hybrid engines, they score better consumption now. For example, when we compare the all-new Golf now, or the Leon on Octavia with its 1.5 MHEV, that is definitely a little bit better as for this case. So it's no fuel economy wonder, even though it's a very small engine. But sometimes the downsizing doesn't help too much. As for the fuel economy, we've been having these situations quite a lot of times. Here, once again, no problem, not stressed at all. When we go left and right here in the French cities, that definitely fits to the vehicle. So they also updated the assistance systems, the autonomous emergency brake, for example, blind spot monitor we have here. It will flash then in the outside of the mirrors, and also the adaptive cruise control. There's also one in here. So you set it here at the column limiter or the cruise control, and then you can activate the cruise control. And again, it's either available as a normal one or then as the adaptive one. And you set also the speed right here at this lower column right next to the steering wheel. Now getting to a little bit more speed, about 80 kilometers an hour, and we feel that it's actually very silent in here. So inside this segment, good noise insulation. As for that, can't complain about that. It fits to the fact that you hardly hear something of the engine. So the cabin itself is very well insulated, both from the engine and also from outside road noises and so on. So that's definitely very good. So if I sum up the driving experience overall, it's really fun because it has this unique setup. That's pretty cool, especially with the steering wheel. It could be a little bit more progressive. Fuel economy could be a little bit better. New digital instruments is surely a nice addition. And also, even though it looks a little bit small and cramped sitting here, we had the same, by the way, in the 2008 as well. The comfort is actually, even for tall people, surprisingly good. Again, although it doesn't look like it. Whoa, almost sandstorm here today. That looks definitely interesting on camera. And let's put on sports mode because we'll have one more acceleration then for you. Isuzu D-Max. Hardly seen it. So here we go, stop sign. Let's go. Front wheel drive only, and even though we were accelerating now from this corner, I think quite stable here, so this is definitely not the problem. And now to our conclusion for today with the Peugeot 308. I hope you really enjoyed that we got once again a French car here on our channel. You know, there are always a lot of German cars because they also push a lot of cars to the market, but we actually cover all cars and all events we are being offered to. So the exterior here is not really changed with this slight facelift, but the most important thing, of course, this new color here, the vertigo blue, and I really see it coming that Thomas Blue colors cars, they will be all over the market now for the Peugeot 308, won't they? You really seriously want to buy another color than this one? Go for this color. Well, then on the interior, there's this new digital cockpit. Yeah, that's not the 3D cockpit we know from 2008 or from the 208, but still it's a very nice addition and something more of digitalization. It's actually a clear view to that one. And you know, before that the RPM meter was going counterclockwise. That was a little bit irritating, definitely, so maybe it's just better in that way. The car is essentially right now, also as a GT, is the one I would actually go for, also with the nice Alcantara seats on the inside. Well, Allure would also be okay with the fabric inserts. That's also quite nice looking. This one, of course, here with the sportiest touch for that. Unique cockpit layout, therefore it's also really a lot of fun to drive the car. That's definitely one of the key figures or one of the unique things about this vehicle. And it's also, for the compact segment, relatively short. Drawback of that is that here in the hatch version you hardly have any rear legroom. If you want that, you need to go for the SW version, for the estate version. Then you have also substantial legroom right there because of the longer wheelbase. Other than that, in driving, fuel economy could be a little bit better, and maybe the steering a little bit more with the progressive input. Other than that, noise insulation was also actually quite good. And also here, the assistance systems have been updated with the recent model change. So I hope you enjoyed this update here of the Peugeot 308. Also tune into the competitors, VW Golf, for example, Seat Leon, and so on. And we also have a review of the pre-facelift 308 GTI. So I would say, thanks so much for joining in today, and see you there.